But it is interesting that all these people are connected. And that's my whole point. That is the whole point. Listen. Okay, can we all be adults here? Can we be adults and friends here? Please, please. I really appreciate you guys. I really, really appreciate you guys that you might not have the same political beliefs that I do. You might not like Trump. You might hate him, in fact. But you still listen to me because I am a balanced voice out there, and I'm not afraid to, criticize people on either side. Muchachos y muchachas, it's a new dawn, it's a new day, we have a new president, and he's rolling in with a whole new entourage. A new cabinet is what I mean, new employees. And that could mean new problems. If you were anywhere near tracking his previous administration, you know that Trump wasn't surrounded by the best staff. Retrospectively, as one would look back, we could say that many he surrounded himself with did not have his best interest. And later on, it was later confirmed by various characters, backstabbing and all, that they indeed did not have the best interest, nor were they ever loyal to him. He faced some setbacks, and in my personal opinion, he ultimately couldn't carry out some of the missions fully. And what I'm insinuating doesn't necessarily mean that this administration could do the same to him, but certainly already there are some concerns about certain people that he has appointed for this round. In my last video, my big daunting question was whether or not conservatives were infiltrated. And I almost want to say with 99.9999% certainty, I believe we are. I went through an example of a big podcaster by the name of Benny Johnson fawning over Andrew Tate as he hosted him as a guest on his show. While this may be a controversial subject to tackle, as a balanced-minded conservative myself, I still feel compelled to ask that question. And it's no different today, because I'm sure we're going to see a lot of surfacing, bubbling up corruption that the radical left, the deep state have probably covered up for all of these years, kept a band-aid on it. And now that there's a whole new administration, I'm sure some of it will bubble up to the surface and it will be shocking. And we're going to cover that here on this channel. But there are just some things that I have to call out when I see it. And I hope that you call it out when you see it as well, specifically when it can jeopardize a movement's credibility. We have worked so hard, guys. We have worked so hard for a few goofs to mess it up for everybody. So back to the topic of Benny Johnson. Last week, I brought you an example of President Trump's counselor, Alina Habba. Yes, that's right. The counsel to the President of the United States, Alina Habba, came on to the podcast, joined Benny and Andrew Tate, and was absolutely fangirling over Andrew Tate. She was smiling big. She was batting her eyes, assuring her fandom for he and his brother. This is the president's counsel. Again, I have to remind you all that these people that say that there are fabricated allegations against Andrew Tate and that all of this is fake and there are no victims, and that's by claim of what the brothers often propagandize on social media, I have to remind you that most of these things are self-confessed on video. They have multiple content pieces out there of them confessing to the things that they are being accused of. So it's weird for me that a lot of this stuff is so self-confessed. It's all public, and although it is public, it's bizarre that these conservatives that are so intellectual just turn their heads from it. So anyway, let me calm down. Today, I want to look specifically at another council type that was recently sworn in. But first, let's paint some background characters. This is Joseph McBride, Tate's U.S. lawyer representing them in some legal matters here in the USA. McBride's claim to fame was representing several J6 prisoners. He has worked with Keith Raniere at one point. He's actually worked with Keith Raniere, you know, the whole Nixium thing. Yeah, he's actually worked with that guy on an appeal at one point in his career. His professionalism was reprimanded by a Trump-appointed judge, U.S. District Judge Trevor McFadden, back in 2023 when he withdrew from a case of a J6er named Christopher Quaglin. In my personal opinion, there was a lot of runaround on the part of Joseph McBride, the attorney that I'm talking about. Like, a few weeks before Quaglin's trial, he told the judge that he needed to step away in order to focus on another J6 case. He told the judge that another attorney by the name of Jonathan Gross would take over and that he knew Quaglin's case pretty well. Later, Gross, the newly appointed attorney by McBride, later admitted that he didn't practice criminal law and couldn't serve as the lead attorney. So McBride later told the judge that it was his plan the whole time to search for a replacement for McBride. Therefore, he then put Gross in charge, although he said that Gross knew the case very well, and Gross came out and said that he didn't know how to practice criminal law. So then, you know, McBride had to fudge this excuse allegedly to the judge. So later on, Judge McFadden actually later found out that the truth really was that Joseph McBride was actually fired by his client Quaglin. Judge McFadden likely wouldn't have allowed McBride to withdraw from the case if he was told the truth instead of giving a whole runaround. But it doesn't stop there. The judge also had questions about McBride's sincerity in an earlier delay that happened in Quaglin's trial, as McBride accredited a disease that he was treating at the time, although whilst this time he was visiting Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago, he was participating in media interviews, all of this was going on. So that's Joseph McBride. His character, well, I will let you assess it for yourself. You see, he laughs at severe allegations of rape and strangulation here, although he is, in my personal opinion, not too bright in doing that, because as far as I know, none of the court or trial proceedings have ended or concluded or anything. So showing a very crass and gauche character laughing at the perils of a victim, probably not the best character you want to put out to the public. Anyway, he is actually under scope for disbarment at this very moment.
Yeah, for sure. I have to be very careful about what I say. So I'm going to say this in the most legalistic way possible, because their legal team tried to gag me and muzzle me in Florida. The judge was not having it. They've subsequently filed a bar complaint against me in New York to try to intimidate me, to try to silence me and go after my license. We're going to win that as well. But right now I am under a microscope for my advocacy, which has all
They've tried to go after your license.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was filed by the this just ridiculous UK law firm that spends its entire life value just harassing Andrew and Tristan online, and now they've come after me. Which is, look,
why? What's their end goal with this? Who's funding
relevancy?
Well, yeah, for them it's relevancy, right? They're trying to stake their claim to fame based on Andrew and Tristan's suffering. They're exploiting them. They have.
I know you're talking about. Yeah, I remember the lawyer. I remember he wanted to come on one of our spaces. I do remember. He was just, all he was doing is target. But I didn't know he was funding. So they're doing it pro bono.
Well, they're raising money on it, right? So I know there are two streams of income for them from what we can loosely see, right? There are like these lefty NGOs that are funding certain lawyers,
Of course.
and then there's this other team that's just like raising money and like public awareness because they want to raise their profile in the UK. But now they filed a complaint against me in New York to try to shut me up. But you know, look, I'm a pretty good attorney. I cross all my T's and dot all my I's. I stay within the bounds of the law. I'm going to win that case. I have to fight it. I'm not worried about it. I have one of the best ethics attorneys in the world on it, and we're going to put that to bed shortly.
And this is more likely for his complicity in a criminal conspiracy to harass and intimidate a victim and witness of Andrew Tate, which resulted in this victim getting dangerously doxxed and harassed by Tate followers. And the things that were happening were, phone calls, visits, personal visits to her parents' home. I mean, bad. So now that I have briefly introduced the character of Joseph McBride, let's revisit the counsel type that I mentioned a little earlier, that is now sworn in as the White House liaison to the DOJ, Paul Ingrassia. I initially followed this guy on X, formerly known as Twitter, because I saw that he was some sort of Trump staff within his campaign days before 2024, or within 2024 and before. It was today where a guy by the name of Jason Hart brought it to light that Ingrassia actually could have a tainted bias going into the White House, it being that he is notable on X, avidly fanboying over the Tate brothers. But wait, there's more. You're just looking at the beginning of the web. Paul Ingrassia, in fact, worked or still works for Joseph McBride, the attorney that is the hallmark of honesty and candor. Let's read this, shall we? Paul Ingrassia is a graduate of Cornell Law School and an associate attorney at the McBride Law Firm, PLLC. Ingrassia was assigned to work on the Tate brothers civil case several months ago and was recently part of the McBride law team that helped facilitate Tucker Carlson's face-to-face interview with Andrew and Tristan Tate. Let's emphasize that last part there, shall we? Once again, he helped facilitate Tucker Carlson's face-to-face interview with Andrew and Tristan Tate. Oh yes, it is very much transparent on his social media how coordinated this McBride associate was in Tucker Carlson's booking with the Tates. So are you guys familiar with how, by opinion, Tucker Carlson's interview with the Tate brothers was an atomic bomb level bad? Tucker usually, he's a hardball player. He tells the truth. It's what got him chased off of Fox News. He goes after tough topics. He gives hardball questions. This interview, though, this particular interview, I have secondhand embarrassment with how low researched and feeble-minded this interview went.
What are you charged with?
That's a really good question. I'm charged with being the head of an organized criminal group, which is in charge of recruiting girls to make TikTok videos.
They face charges which include human trafficking, rape, and forming a criminal gang to sexually exploit women.
OnlyFans is the best hustle in the world.
Are they accusing you of using violence or?
No. They're accusing me of using the lover boy method, coercing them by being nice.
I don't mention webcam until after I've had sex with the girl. If you're on dates and you're trying to mention it and shit, it just doesn't work. It puts them off. I'd never do that. That's disgusting. I'm not a whore. It's just not gonna work. You continue as normal, no mention of webcam. You f the girl. After you fuck the girl, you do the PhD test. So yeah, on corporatate.com I have my PhD program, and that is PhD is a pimp and hose degree that I'm
Clever.
And
Clever.
That teaches basically how I got girls, how I met girls, how I got girls to like me, how I got girls to fall in love with me to work on webcam for me.
They're accusing me of using the lover boy method, coercing them by being nice.
Let me read you then what you have said about what you have done.
Sure.
You have said, my job was to meet a girl, go on a few dates, sleep with her, get her to fall in love with me to the point where she'd do anything I say, and then get her on webcam so we could become rich together.
I don't think that's what I personally said. I think
that's exactly what you said on your website.
No, I've never said that.
So yeah, on corporatate.com I have my PhD program.
I think the belief is that you were charged with human trafficking.
Yeah, that's human trafficking, because what you do is you force a girl to work against her will for financial gain. That's human trafficking. And their justification for this is that girls do TikTok. Some girls I know who they found who say they're not victims have TikTok accounts.
PhD is a pimp and hose degree that I'm
Clever.
I mean, this is Tucker Carlson we're talking about here. This guy had all the analysts, and maybe it was the Fox News level analysts that gave him all the facts, and it was the way that he directed them to just dig to the all extent. But this particular interview did not reflect that same tactic. it really makes me wonder how coordinated this was. Did the McBride law firm coordinate in any type of way these softball questions that were given to the Tate brothers? And also, I just wonder if Tucker Carlson was compensated for such an interview. All fair questions. I just wonder. All of this, learning all of this today, has really pointed me to this X space that was held last week that featured the Tate brothers, as well as two oppositional, we'll just call them citizen journalists, that have kept very close tabs on the Tate case. They source all of their documentation either on the self-snitching content that the Tates themselves have put out there, published out there, or majority of the time it is the Bucharest court documents that they get straight from the Bucharest court in Romania in the portal. So the thing that astonishes me about this particular interview is the fact that Tristan Tate cannot hold his weight in what he portrays out there. So this account, Murdered by Crayons, once again, just very consistently knows the court documentation like the back of his hand. He's read the indictment. He has all the documentation. And so when he's face to face, figuratively, metaphorically, with Tristan Tate on this space, he's asking him to provide documentation for the things that he, spews out to the public. One being very consistently that Tristan Tate claims that the case is thrown out, that there are no victims, things like this. And, Murder by Crayons is basically pressuring him to give him the documentation, the court documentation stating that, and he will turn everything over, his account. He will disable everything, and he will apologize to the public that he had the wrong documentation. Now, it's Tristan Tate's response to this that he gets so flustered. By the way, he doesn't answer his question. He just deflects and then he gets flustered. But there's one thing that he said. Tristan Tate basically says that he knows information that we don't.
Up here, we're just going to keep it between Crayons Gadget. Tristan, welcome to the space. How are you doing today?
I'm actually sitting in my house with one of my victims in this new case because these losers keep saying that there's so many victims and that there's numerous people who have been named as victims. They just literally wrote down every single girl that I know as a victim. Everybody I know was written down on this list, and everybody I know is defending me. So there are no victims at all. These guys are losers. They're lying. The first case has been completely dropped, no matter what they say. And I'm sitting here enjoying my lunch with one of my so-called victims.
So if you're first of all, Tristan, nice to meet you. Finally, I hope you get a fair trial. If you are dropped in the first case, why are you still under judicial control for the first case? Why was it just extended? Why are 5 of the women given statements against you in the first case? 4 of them are injured parties, civil parties. And so far, 7 of them in the second case have already given statements against you. And there's an extradition treaty or extradition order for you to be extradited to the UK for human trafficking when Romania's criminal proceedings have concluded. Tristan, I might agree with you and say, yeah, they might have wrote some of them in there, but I've looked at all of your files. I've looked at the unredacted indictment. I've looked at all the judicial motivations, everything unredacted. They have all the amounts that these people have made for you on OnlyFans and webcam. They have all the situations in terms of lover boy, false feelings, etc. And listen, if some of them are not legit, that's fine. But you and I both know that human trafficking is based on how you recruited them, how you deceived them into false relationships, how you sheltered them, and then coerced and manipulated them into sex work. And listen, I want you to get a fair trial, but you guys are pushing so much bullshit about your case. It's truly unbelievable. I don't want to share information about your case. Everything that we do is a reaction to your disinformation that you're pushing out there. And nice to meet you, by the way. Go ahead.
Thank you for your service. I appreciate you keeping my case in the forefront of the
Yes, sir.
conversation. As I said, the first case has been completely dropped. I don't know what you're talking about. Everybody knows that DCOG get 5 days to fix the case, 5 days to repair it because it's full of errors. And yes, it is fake. It is fabricated. They translated things from English back to Romanian, back to English that read in a way that no English person would ever speak. So yes, the evidence was fabricated. So case 1 has been thrown out. Case 2 is going to be thrown out. I'm soon going to be completely free to travel anywhere I like. And I guess you're just going to have to melt down. I don't know where you get your information from, but I know things you don't. I'm going to be free very, very soon. And you can continue posting about me and calling me a human trafficker all you like. All of these women have come to knock at my house when I'm walking out in town. They wave at me and I have to walk the other way because I'm not allowed to talk to them. They all message me, call me, say, I can't wait till your case is over. I can't wait to meet up. Nobody has ever been human trafficked by me. It's nonsense. I'm going to be free very, very soon. I know things you don't. This is all going away. Like the first case has gone away. You know what? At least be honest. At least be intellectually honest. Because if the first case had been sent to trial, if they said this evidence is good, this file is good, it's now going to trial, you would be celebrating and jumping up and down. Look, the evidence was great. It's going to trial. But when they said this evidence is garbage, we're throwing this case away. Now you're telling me that the case hasn't been thrown away. You're telling people the case hasn't gone away. It has gone away and it's never going to trial. Why can't you at least take the L? I know that you don't know me and my life is all you care about and my life is your entire online identity. However, be intellectually honest and say, okay, well, the first case was bullshit and it's not going to trial. If Romania convicted me of murder tomorrow, murder and drug dealing tomorrow, I would still be eligible to sue the Romanian state for the last 2 years of my life that they've wasted because the first case was actually thrown away. And you can live in your fantasy land where you think that this first case is somehow still existing, but it simply isn't. I'm going to be free very soon. You can mark my words, and it's going to be fucking hilarious. The first thing I'll do is check all of your accounts.
Yeah, let me reply to that. I've seen the judicial motivation. The only evidence that was removed from the case was 4 statements. All the other evidence passed.
The whole case has been thrown away. The whole
The
case
case
has
was
been thrown
not thrown
away.
away, Tristan. Let me speak,
100% of the
sir.
evidence has been thrown
Tristan,
away.
stop
No,
lying.
100%
Jesus.
of the evidence has been thrown
Nonsense.
away.
Wait. Let
Yeah,
Tristan.
one at a
Murder
time.
ask the question. Let Tristan answer without anyone interrupting. And Tristan, a question many people are asking: do you have any extradition cases, or is there any risk of any extradition cases in the UK? Because a lot of people were saying, how can you get a political party in the UK when there's possible cases that you can be extradited for? Can you just confirm that position? But no one interrupt. Allow a civil, respectful, rational conversation to occur. Thank you. Tristan, I think it was a double mute.
Yeah, Tristan, do you want to unmute? It just takes a while. Go ahead, brother.
This question gets them quiet. Jeez.
No, it's just the mute, I think, happens quite a
Oh, it's
bit.
connecting.
Yeah, Tristan, you there? Okay, hold on. I think
So
Tristan.
while we're waiting for Tristan, I would love to ask Tristan this. Tristan, my DMs are open. My DMs are open, or you can post this publicly. Post the actual document that says the case was dismissed. Because the document that I have, and listen, feel free to correct me, brother. Correct me if I am wrong. Listen, if I'm giving wrong information, you fucking correct me. Show me the documents. Because the document that I have says the file was sent back to the prosecutor. And out of all
Murder, you cut out. But in the meantime, we can go to Gadget while Murder has put his thoughts. So, Gadget, you want to put your thoughts forward? I want to
Yeah,
wait
gee.
for Tristan if he'll come up.
I guess I'll start a question. If he's listening or comes up, we'll see if he does. But the question I have, I mean, why is he lying like a child? Why won't these boys just be men and grow up? But I wanted to point to a specific lie. He was on the Michael Franzese podcast around the middle of last year, and he was specifically talking about his incitement to violence charge. And he told Michael Franzese that this was simply him laughing with his girlfriend and saying, "I'm going to kick your ass." Whereas the text messages pulled from his devices very clearly show him telling Georgiana about a girl that didn't want to make pornography for him anymore. Throw this girl out the house, hit her if you have to. You've seen me do this 100 times or 10 times, whatever number it was. See her respond saying okay. And then afterwards seeing her responding saying that she's done the job, and there's obviously evidence of Georgiana physically assaulting this woman at his demand. So I'm very curious about this specific lie. Why they preach, I guess, taking ownership as men, and as I do. So I don't know why he would lie about that in such a way. He could have just ignored that topic, since it's a very clear, in my opinion, example of evidence of a crime. But he may not come back.
Hey, I'm back. Yeah, I want to continue. I got the space crash on me. I want to say this, Tristan, I know you're listening. Andrew, I know you're listening. Show me the documents that show me your case was dismissed. Show me the documents where you've got all the girls saying you didn't do anything, because the documents that I have says that multiple women are ready to testify against you. They've already given statements against you, that your case was simply sent back to the prosecutor to fix these issues. He's rewriting the indictment. You're under judicial control for the first case. The case has not been dismissed, but prove me wrong. Post it publicly or send me the document. Prove us wrong, because the documents that I have say something completely different. Listen, if I've got this wrong, Tristan, show me the actual documents, because I can get a copy of that document that you show me to confirm it's real, and I will champion you. If I've got this wrong, I will go in your corner and I will turn my entire account around and say, oh my God, I've got the wrong set of documents. Here's what's actually happening. Until you do that, until you can do that, or post them publicly, until you can do that, man, the documents that I have that have come, because you said, I don't know where you get your information from. I get my information directly from the Bucharest court. I get my information directly from the Bucharest court, where you make your statements, your lawyers make your statements, where you literally cried to the judge and said that the indictment was made public and it was ruining your life. That statement is literally by you in a document, and I posted it. So brother, listen, prove me wrong, post the documents publicly, send them to me privately. My DMs are open because I have not blocked you. You've blocked me and Andrew blocked me, but you're not blocked. I'm open to discussion.
Now, I have no idea, and if you are law-minded, if you are very well versed, very well read in legal matters, in foreign matters, let me know. But how in the world? I know that Andrew and Tristan Tate are both citizens of the USA. They are dual citizenship holders. But how could it be that the American DOJ could extradite the brothers for freedom? I don't know if I'm using the right legal jargon here, or basically free them of their circumstance of being tried in Romania for the human trafficking case. I don't know how that can happen, but it just makes me wonder, because there is someone so biased in the White House and they are so pro Tate brothers, how that could happen, how the DOJ could possibly pave way for the brothers. I don't know. And I'm hoping that that's not even something remotely possible that could happen. But it is interesting that all these people are connected. And that's my whole point. That is the whole point. Listen. Okay, can we all be adults here? Can we be adults and friends here? Please, please. I really appreciate you guys. I really, really appreciate you guys that you might not have the same political beliefs that I do. You might not like Trump. You might hate him, in fact. But you still listen to me because I am a balanced voice out there, and I'm not afraid to, criticize people on either side, because I truly am not. This has opened my eyes quite a bit, seeing so many conservatives fawn and just swoon over these degenerates of our society, right? So it's not that I feel that I have fallen more balanced more than anything, but I'm certainly not, radical left or radical right. It's just like, this has just balanced me a little bit. But listen to me. With all that being said, I still support Trump. That's who I voted for. I've been very open about that throughout my social media. On this channel, I am. I just believe that he is surrounded by people that are not the best for him. And this person, these two brothers, are not the people. They're not the people that want to be associated with Trump, okay? Like, we do not want them associated. We don't want people in his administration, like the counselors and like the liaisons to the DOJ, from the White House to the DOJ. We don't want those people fawning and fanboying and fangirling over Andrew Tate. It is a bad look. We are going to shoot ourselves in the foot if we allow this type of behavior, and it truly takes balanced-minded conservatives to call this stuff out when you see it. This is not, and I do see it, actually. I do see it, and I'm encouraged by it that people are actually calling this out, you know, in the comment section. You know, they're reposting documents from the Bucharest court. They're reposting the videos of the Tate self-confessing on themselves. And I'm proud of people that are doing that. Keep doing that if you're one of them. But we cannot act like this is okay. We cannot act like, you know, people within his administration that are actively trying to cover for people like this. It's just not, keep them away from Trump. And here's the thing too, like I said in my last video, a lot of people's arguments, the Tate supporters' arguments are that, you know, he has not gone to trial yet. He is not convicted, blah, 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 right? But yet people can still come to the conclusion that P. Diddy, you know, is bad, and that Epstein was bad. Epstein didn't even make his trial. Okay. He got exited way before. There was none of the self-confession stuff that I've seen with the Tate brothers on Epstein, right? But we all knew, we corroborated, we put it together, we connected the dots. The people that he knew, we knew that there was something up going on with that man. And yet, even without a trial, we can still come to that conclusion today. Now, when it comes to these guys that have all of this self-confession video and audio, somehow people are still cognitively dissonant, and we've got to come to the truth. Listen, my whole thing is, you guys know, my whole thing is anti-corruption and anti-trafficking. Those are my things. So in order for us to do that, we've got to be honest with ourselves. We can't just swoon to one side just because it's just a side we're comfortable with. We've got to really look at things with balanced eyes. So anyway, that's another rabbit hole that I jumped down today. I think the more level-headed that we all become together, the more balanced our world will become. So guys, thanks so much for your comments. Thank you so much for liking. And yeah, if you like this balanced type of stuff, balanced reporting, balanced whatever stories, then subscribe, because, you know, I don't know, my eyes are opened to a whole different world now. And I think, like I said, I'm a Trump supporter. I just don't want him surrounded by all of these people that are goofballs and gonna screw it up for the entire movement, you know? So anyway, thanks guys so much. I'll catch you in the next video. Bye-bye.